Hi everyone, Dawn here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So today we're just doing a story time video. So let me set this up just a little bit. I used to work for a hospital, and first I worked for a contract service, and I had to do the orientation for the hospital while I was working for, when I was hired with the contract service. But then after the contract ended, I was hired, the hospital hired me. And so I had to go through the orientation again. Same orientation, 5 years apart. So, and this happened both the first and second time I went to the orientation. So we'll just kind of tell the story once. So first of all, the orientation could have been a handbook. Just give us a handbook and make us sign it saying, yeah, we read it. Because it would have been the same result, because nobody at this thing was listening. Everybody was just kind of like there going through the motions. It was 2 full work days. I believe it was 2 full days, if not almost full days. It was common sense stuff is what it was, And I understand sometimes common sense isn't so common, but it was a headache. I hated it. I hated it. I hated any kind of meeting or anything they had, because everything was always something that could be an email or was an email or doesn't even apply to us. And why do we need to know this? Like, there was a meeting once when I was working at this hospital where it wasn't once, they did it every year and you had to go to it. Actually, I think they did it 2 or 3 times a year and you had to go to it. It was required. And you would go to it and they would just start telling us statistics and stuff. And like, how does this apply to me? How does this apply to us, to my job? It doesn't. I don't care. I don't care about these numbers. I just don't. And then it would always kill me. There would be people, that would go, oh, I'm like, you're not interested in this. Give me a break. But anyway, back to the orientation. So the orientation was 2 days, and I believe it was the second day, if I'm remembering it correctly. Yeah, it was the second day. They would introduce a couple to us. This couple are patients here. Well, it also turned out the couple was really close friends with the CEO. And it was the same couple, both orientations I went to. Because I remembered them from the first time, and I remembered their story from the first time. And they were very close friends with the CEO. They lived on Amelia Island, which, if you don't know, is a very, very exclusive place to live. It's very nice. And so, and this place is so out of touch. And they introduced the people as people, this couple, so you can relate, we want you to hear from patients because you can relate to them. And I'm sorry, their story is not the one I want to hear. And I don't mean to belittle their experience. I'm not trying to do that, but they were just talking about what a wonderful experience they had there. They felt like they were at a spa while they were in the hospital. And he was like, the man was like, I just so wanted to get better so I can go and swim in my lap pool. We had 2 pools. We had one for just leisure, but then we also had a lap pool. Like, he called it an Olympic strip or something like that. And then he called it a lap pool. So that's how I figured out what he was talking about. But I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, I know what it's like when I want to get to my 2 pools, but I'm in the hospital. Like, oh, I want to get to my 2 pools so bad. So not to disrespect them, but how are we, employees of this hospital, people who are in environmental services, which is like janitorial, people who are in food service, people who are going to work in the gift shop, clerks, security, parking people, how are these people how are we going to relate to these extremely wealthy people with their 2 pools and their close friendship with the CEO? You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm trying to get at? It's, how are we going to relate to them? Because they literally said, we wanted people to talk to you that you could relate to and you can have shared experiences with. I'm sorry. Now, this was the hospital Marshall was at when he had cancer, and his treatment was wonderful. It was not like being at a spa though, but I really have no complaints about his experience. But I saw other people there having problems. I don't want to hear from the super wealthy super wealthy couple that lives on Amelia Island with 2 pools and probably has top-notch insurance that pays for absolutely everything, and they don't have any worries in the world when it comes to money. I don't want to hear from those people. Again, not to disrespect them or to belittle their experience, but I want to hear from the single mom working 2 jobs who just got a devastating diagnosis for her child. That's who I want to hear from. Why can't we hear from her? Because she's at one of her 2 jobs, more than likely, or she's too busy to come there and talk to a bunch of people. And also, she's not close personal friends with the CEO, you know? And it was just something, to me, it was insulting. And apparently, they got a lot of complaints about it. Both orientations I'd been to. I don't know if the one I went to the first time there were complaints, but I know the second time there were complaints because I was more in the inner circle of I knew more of the people there because I had already worked within the system just for the contractor, so I got to know a lot of people. So I complained to my manager about it. I was like, that was ridiculous. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but that was absolutely ridiculous. And she had told me she heard that a lot. It was a pretty common complaint about the orientation. And so we had to fill out a satisfaction survey at the end of the orientation. And I wrote a dissertation about how inappropriate it was to say that we could relate to these people. There was no way most of us would be able to relate to their issue because we're not going to have insurance like that. I mean, we had good insurance. I had no complaints about the insurance I had. It was wonderful insurance when I was working at the hospital. But that whole orientation, it was a waste of everybody's time. It was boring. And to top it off, they insult us by having this extremely wealthy couple. I keep wanting to say company. This extremely wealthy couple talk to us about their spa experience in the hospital. Like, yeah, and you know what? And I think it was Chris Rock who was talking about when he didn't have insurance and his mom had to go to the hospital and it was just terrible. And, they did the absolute minimum to keep her alive. But when he became Chris Rock, then it was like, it was magical. It was like a spa for her. And that is very true in the health industry. The more money you have, the better insurance you have, the better treatment you're going to get. And that's just a fact. It's disgusting, it's horrible, and it's atrocious, but that's just the facts. And even if your insurance isn't that good, if you have money, they're gonna, and they were also, I think they called them diamond patients or something like that. Means they're donors, like they donate a lot of money to the hospital. And so because, say, I can't afford to buy a wing at the hospital, my treatment is just going to be the bare minimum to keep me breathing. If that much, if even that. And I remember working in the office I worked in, people would come get their medical records and someone in the administration office would know and they'd come knock on the window because I had a little window and they would tell me, now this person's coming in and they are diamond level patients. So, and I'm like, I will treat them like I treat every person that comes up to this window. Yeah, but they're really important. I will treat them the same way I treat everybody that comes to this window because I treated everybody good. I'm not going to treat somebody else even better because they donated to the hospital. They didn't donate shit to me. They didn't donate anything to me. They buy me a wing and a house. Then maybe I'll treat them extra special. But I wasn't rude at all to any of them. It was the same thing. I'm like, hi, my name is Dawn. Can I help you? Same treatment I give everybody. And nobody had any complaints except for this one crazy lady, which is a story time for another day. But I have to research and make sure I could tell the story. So privacy and all that. But yeah, that orientation was a joke. And I know I sound bitter, but I just don't understand how they thought we could relate to these people. I mean, maybe, there were some pampered people that were at the orientation. I highly doubt it, you know, but I just found it very disrespectful and insulting and disgusting. Don't tell us that they're going to have people that we can relate to talk to us, and then it's a wealthy couple from Amelia Island with 2 pools and a spa-like experience in the hospital. I can't, you know, I've never had a bad experience when in the hospital, except for the mental hospital. But I can't say it was ever like a spa, and I wouldn't have expected it to be. It's a medical facility. I expect to be treated for the medical issue I'm there for, and you know, nothing else. So anyway, that's it. And the hospital did have masseuses and stuff, but they, you know, regular patients didn't have access to them. You had to be the Amelia Island 2 pools in your backyard people for that. But anyway, that's it. I know, again, I know I sound bitter, but it was just, I think it's a piss poor orientation, and that they had no respect. It just showed the level of how out of touch the higher ups in that company, and all companies, really are. Completely out of touch, that they assume we can relate to this couple, who they were adorable. They were adorable, but it just was insulting in my opinion, and I heard a lot of people complaining about it, not just me. So, and from what I understand, when they had the next orientation, they didn't have any people come and talk to them. That was my understanding, but I don't know, because my manager said, yeah, they don't think they're going to do that again. They've gotten a lot of negative feedback about that. Yeah, because bad idea. Bad move. It just shows how out of touch they are. Okay. But anyway, that's it. I've rambled on long enough. I'm going to go. My throat is getting ready to give out. And I will talk to everyone later. Bye.